All right, well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Hannah Eltringham Whitfield. I was a Scientologist and a member of the Sea Organization for over 22 years. I captained 2 of Hubbard's ships and ran many of his organizations. And I'm speaking to offer some insights into Scientology. Of course, he said, a small child is really a big being in a child's body. He has returned into this life and he knows what he's doing. It had become dangerous to have children on board, so children at that time were no longer being allowed on board. And women who became pregnant did not want to be sent off the ship, so they chose in some cases to have the abortions, and in some cases Hubbard ordered his aides to have abortions. We now move a little bit forward to the Fort Harrison Hotel, to 1975, 76, 70, the 70s, and into the 80s. The nursery, the children's nursery, was a terrible place for children. It was never clean. It always smelled of urine. The babies were left crying in urine-soaked cribs, and there was one baby found dead that I know of personally. Judy Wright, a very, very good friend of mine whose own baby was in that nursery, told me later on that she had seen more than one dead baby. Judy lives in Seattle.
How did they cover it up? Why didn't the police come in and investigate why those babies died? Babies that don't die every day.
The babies were often left unattended because there's always a shortage of staff.
I wasn't asking why aren't they dying, but why didn't the police investigate? I mean, those are deaths.
The police were never told about those deaths. I don't know how those little bodies were disposed of. And while I was in Scientology, I never chose to look into it. And there were other children, back to the nursery, there were other children from anywhere from 3 to 9 years old, 10 years old, who, as punishment, and again, I don't know punishment for what, were made to pick lint off the carpet, you know, the little bits of papers and things that stick on the carpet, for hours each day, while they said, I'm glad to be in the Sea Organization, I'm glad to be in the Sea Organization, I'm glad to be in the Sea Organization.
I was about 13, and there was a place called the Mace Kingsley Ranch. It was in Palmdale, about 30 minutes outside of Los Angeles, and it was run by a man named Wally Hanks, who was OT7. He was like one of the highest level Scientologists. He was very well known and revered, and he used to do briefings to people on how to handle their children. And a lot of the children at the Mace Kingsley Ranch were considered problem children. Their parents had gone into the Sea Org and they wouldn't go, or their parents were in Scientology, they didn't want to be in Scientology, or for one reason or another they were considered a problem child. I never was sent there, but I had friends who were, and I went up to visit them a few times. Now, when I went up to visit them, I found out what happened was anyone who acted up, like a couple boys, a boy was found peeping in the girls' room, and just any time you did something wrong, you were paddled. Wally was a very big man, and he had a paddle, and all of us would sit around. This happened the first time I went up there to visit. Sit around on the sofa, and the person who was being paddled stood in the middle of the room, and Wally would paddle them with this paddle, and it made them cry. And then he would put a little notch on it for paddling them, and that was the punishment. In the evenings, he would build a bonfire and give all the girls and all the boys beer. I was 13 years old, 14, I think I was 13. Everyone had beer and got drunk. I think the first night or the second night I was up there, I was sitting next to him, and I had had a few beers, and so had he, and so had everyone else, and he put his hand on my shirt and down my bra and started feeling me. And it really scared me. And I asked my friend later, I said, what's Wally doing? Why did he do this? And she said, oh, don't worry, he just does that with the girls. That's just what he does, but don't worry about it.
This guy's running the school?
Yeah, he ran it. From what I know, he owned it, and he definitely ran it with his wife. Another night, he took us camping, and we went out and we had more beer, and we were camping, and once we'd all had a few drinks, he gave us guns to go practice shooting. So I sat in the dark with a flashlight and a gun, practiced shooting at like cans and thing after I'd had a few beers
What
to
kind
drink.
of guns?
Just like handguns. Oh, and rifles. We did rifles earlier in the day before we drank, and then we did handguns in the evening. That one time that he put his hand on my shirt was the only time he did that to me, but later on, when I was in the Sea Organization, when I was the Director of Inspections and Reports, I came across some reports on him. He had been found out that he'd been doing these things, but he had done a lot worse than what he'd done to me. He had really badly molested several girls.
How do you mean?
Like, felt down their pants and had them pee on his car or on someone's car, and just...
What do you mean, pee on the car?
He got off by seeing them pee on cars. Told them to pee on cars, and they would do it for him because they had to, or...
They might be drunk.
He got them drunk, had them pee on cars,
God.
felt them, and I don't know if he actually had intercourse. I don't remember if he actually had intercourse with anyone, but, you know, up to that point, really bad molesting.
What happened? What happened to him?
Well, because he was an OT7, they said they weren't going to declare him officially because it would be bad public relations for people to hear that an OT7 molested children and got declared. So they quietly ousted him from the church. They quietly said he's declared.
But did they report him to the authorities?
No, they never reported him. At least not to my knowledge. These reports said nothing about it. They said it was a handling. It's like he's been doing this, and what we're going to do is we're going to oust him, but we're not going to officially declare him. We're not going to tell people about it because it's bad public relations because he was an OT7.
What about the parents of the girls who were molested? Did they do anything about this?
I don't know about that. I don't know what happened. One of the girls was in the Sea Org with me and left, and another one of the girls is still a Scientologist. They're all still Scientologists. And the parents probably were told, well, we're ousting him from the church. And that's considered a handling.
Incredible.